Good afternoon and welcome to the Ministry Media Masterclass, which is a masterclass on ministry media positioned as a learning opportunity for pastors and ministries where we can impact the world through you. We are live from the Ministry Media Mastery studio where our passion is your message to the world. Let's go. I'm a media coach for pastors and ministries, helping them get their message to its intended for, build the media channels for that message to get there, and then building a community around it. I am passionate about transforming the world through equipping and empowering inspired individuals to create ethical, positive, and true media that edifies and builds up society, raises up and establishes godly voices, and brings restoration to the world. I do this through one-on-one coaching, providing a media coaching platform, facilitating media challenges, and hosting ministry media retreats, and obviously also doing this weekly ministry media masterclass. My name is Ivan Fuyen, and this is my masterclass. Today, we're doing the second session of Q&A where we are going to answer the most frequent asked questions or questions that's been submitted by ministries to our office and that we can do live here for the benefit of the whole community. So we're going to get done with that very, very soon. In the meantime, would you go and post your ministry media question in the comments below so we can answer your question live on the call today as well. If you like what you hear today, want to launch or improve your ministry media platform, learn the latest content creation strategies and techniques, build a media team, and increase the impact of your media ministry, register for our Ministry Media Challenge. This carefully crafted challenge will provide you with a system, processes, and most of all, accountability structures to get your ministry media platform launched in as little as 12 weeks. This is a premium challenge where we take you from where you are to global influence and impact. And having said that, let's see if we can get some of your comments. Great. Let's get started with the Q&A. Pastor Gabriel Martinez from Abundant Grace Church in the US. He asks, what are some effective strategies for using video testimonials to inspire faith and hope in our congregation? I think effective strategies for doing video testimonials is let the person do it natively on their own phones using the horizontal capture format on their phones. Do it in their own environment. Don't do it at church or on a stage or in a setback, a set or a setup that looks too professional. Let them do it in their garden, in their home, with their family, wherever. Make it as authentic as possible. Then I would encourage them to post that testimonial on their own platforms. So their own Facebook, their own Twitter, their own Instagram, their own TikTok, etc. Put that video testimonial in there. And then the church goes and shares the testimonial on their platform. The reason why I suggest this strategy is because you already have a captive audience on your platform. And so what you want to do is you want to leverage that person's sphere of influence and their network. They post it on their platform. So the content doesn't go to waste because you share it on your platform. But with that, the testimonial is giving glory to God. Maybe it's associated with your church, but it goes into a channel that you haven't necessarily leveraged before. Remember, if you have any questions, post them in the comments. We'd love to answer them for you. Teacher Emily Thompson from Canada, Discipleship Academy, asks, how can we create a sense of community and connection among our online Bible study participants? Obviously, using a platform like Zoom is great, and that way they can feed back to you, ask questions, etc. And then what I would do is I would take the Bible study class or the participants, and I'll break them into breakout rooms with three people in each group, and just let them lead discussions. I would do this regularly during my Bible study I would do that regularly during my Bible study, and I would mix them up and randomize the mixture of the people that are together. I would ensure that I connect with them really, really well. So speak to their own pain points, their own challenges that they have, and so on. I would, that is, and then obviously I would take that and work a lot of gamification and social elements into it, like for instance the Bible quiz. That's fun, and I would have people meet online and in person at least once a month in a social setting outside of the Bible study class. And that way, I think you'll create a sense of community and connection around them. Next one is from Prophet Isaiah Kimani, Prophetic Visions Worldwide, Kenya. What equipment and software are essential for producing high quality prophetic videos and broadcasts? You know what? You can get away with really simple things. You can use the webcam on your computer and stream via StreamYard. That's what I'm doing now, and I think it works really effectively. Um, I would make sure that I have just a decent. There you go. Remember, if you have any questions, please post them in the comments below so we can ensure that we answer them for you, and we're going to do it live. All right. Next one is Apostle Maria Silva, Transformational Ministries, Brazil. How can we effectively manage and respond to negative comments and criticism on our ministry social media platforms? I've always found the best way to handle this is to acknowledge the complaint or criticism, say thank you for their feedback, and leave it at that. That way, you kind of extinguish the fire, and you take this thing out. Just thank them for the contribution, acknowledge that they have added something to it, and tell them that you would reach out to them privately if it's a big issue. But definitely no fights online. That's not good for business. David Lee from Gospel Fire Evangelistic Ministries, South Korea. What are the best practices for using YouTube advertising to reach a broader audience for our online evangelistic events? So this is a very interesting question. Number one, let me give you a scenario. You have a ministry who is online and now criticizing other ministries for making money, asking for money, having fundraisers, having platforms where people can give, so etc. And then they have an ad in the middle of the video marketing something else, which means they're making money on the ad revenue on the video. Let's say they get 50,000 views, maybe they get hundreds of thousands of views. They are making money on those ads. So that is a little bit of a contradiction and makes you look like a hypocrite. That's number one. Number two is I would never run ads or AdSense, let YouTube run ads on my ministry content, because I have no idea what they're going to show and there's no way to control it really. What is going to be that? If you have a successful YouTube channel which has great views, etc., and you feel that you want to monetize that, I would do product placements, brand deals, and do it inside of my videos and control the advertising and the promotions. If you want to use YouTube advertising so that you can reach more people, I love this strategy actually because you can go and put a message. We've actually did a masterclass on this a couple of weeks ago where we spoke about reaching people, a missional or evangelical ministry, reaching people in an area where they are going to and getting themselves familiarize the people in the area with themselves before they go there. And a strategy to do that, and that's what I'm trying to share here in YouTube. What you could do is you could have a message for a specific people in an area, and then you run ads and let those ads play in that specific area where people are browsing. So this could be messages like, hey, we're coming to your area. This is what we're going to do. We'd love for you to be here. Click on the link, whatever the case may be. I've seen ministries that teach people how to play worship music, do that. Bible studies, or just promoting your channel is also a great way to do that. If you have any questions, post them in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you for Pastor Jonathan Banda being here with us today. Let us know how many pastors are with you today. You're very welcome. Pastor Rachel Johnson from Faithful Hearts Church in the UK asks, how can we leverage podcasting? Just give me a sec. So the question is, how can we leverage podcasting to share sermons and teachings with those who prefer audio content? So we have a strategy that we teach here at Ministry Media Mastery where we do videos and we convert them to audio, and that goes onto our podcast. Because our videos have intros in the beginning, which is kind of a jingle, that serves just as well as an intro for podcasting. So that's what we do, and I encourage you to do the same because it saves a lot of time in the creation process and the post-production process. And then so I would do that. All my content that's done on video, if you do it the way that we teach it, then you put it on your platform and you just convert it to audio. The next one is you can go and do specific podcast. That's what I do for our ministry as well. I would go and create during the week maybe 2 or 3 3 to 5 minute audios where I teach on a specific topic or unpack something that I've done a masterclass on in the week, and it's a great way for people to consume that as well. I had a client that did something on top of his teachings that we repurposed. What he did was what we call the spiritual vitamin. So it was once a week on a Wednesday, posted like a little Bible lesson, which encourages people with the scriptures, etc. So that's something that you can do as well. And then you can do anything outside of that. You could just, I had a period in my ministry where a lot of interviews that I did, so you can post those up as well. Remember, podcasting platforms has, because people listen with audio and there's less commitment attached to that than watching videos, it could do really well. You could literally get like millions of listens and downloads, hundreds of thousands of downloads. So the strategy would be, I personally use a platform called SoundCloud. I distribute my audio on there, and then people have the ability to follow that specific account and then connect to that, and they'll get notifications of that as soon as they are live. Then you can go look at your distribution strategy, and you can look at putting your podcast on SoundCloud and then going all the big ones. Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. You want to put it on what's the platform? Spotify, etc. Have proper branding and then distribute your content on that. You could use a platform like Buzzsprout to distribute your content. And another platform, an app to use that's really working well is called Anchor. Okay, here's Ahmed Hassan, teacher Ahmed from Faithful Learning Institute in Egypt. Ask, what copyright considerations should we keep in mind when using digital resources in our online courses? The best rule of thumb is always to go to a platform that has royalty-free material like songs or videos or anything, and I would have a license for that content and then incorporate it into my content. That's the best way kind of to do that. I wouldn't do it any other way. You can go to platforms which gives you content for free, audios and so on, and you just give attributions, but it makes it messy and you constantly send people away from where you are. So I would get licenses and then just add that to my content. I hope that helps. Prophetess Grace Ufori from Divine Revelations Ministries in Ghana. She asks, how can I encourage interactivity and audience engagement during our online prophetic conferences and webinars? It's really simple. Engage them. Ask the question. So acknowledge your online audience when you have your conference or webinar. Get them involved by asking them questions and let them respond in the comments. And another way is digital breakout rooms that people can go and actually connect with people online during or after the conference or the webinar. And that's what I see John Maxwell do. And that's worked really well the last time we participated in that. Next, Apostle Carlos Fernandez, Revived Nations Network in Mexico. What steps can we take to measure the spiritual impact and growth of our online discipleship program? Simple. Transformation. Lives changed. People are actually connected to your ministry and engaging with the leaders, and you are discipling them virtually. That's the best way. That's how you see the spiritual impact. So content goes out, people consume, they connect, you bring them into the fold, and you start discipling them. And it's actually, we taught this a couple of years ago. We called it the COVID-proof path, where it's distribute, connect, transform, and then impact. So evangelist Sophia Clark from Hopeful Harvest Evangelistic Outreach in Canada. She asks, what are the most effective strategies for promoting our online evangelistic events to a global audience? I think it's always wise to have a specific demographic and area in mind when you do online evangelistic events, because this question is difficult to approach because we are asking for effective strategies, and having an avatar is effective strategy. Promoting your evangelistic events to a global audience, I would never promote an online evangelistic event to a global audience. I would go into a country, in a specific area, a specific state. I would hear from God. Who does he want? What's my message? Who is that message for? And then place myself in that area through advertising or promotions and serving the local area. That's how I would do that. Next question is Daniel White from Graceful Living Church in the US. How can we create engaging and informative infographics to share key biblical messages on social media? So infographics are large pieces of visual content, right? And I wouldn't create those regularly. I would, if you go to our master classes, a couple of weeks ago, we did a class differentiating between pillar and filler content. So I would create infographics around my pillar content that is my foundation messages or doctrine, if you will. And I would create infographics around that to explain that, because there's a lot of work that goes into infographics. It's content rich and information rich. And I would create one of those every month, maybe, if that's part of the strategy. I would do it well, and I'd make sure that I get wide distribution on that because of the investment of time in it. You can always break the infographic apart. I actually love this question because it gives me an idea to actually teach people. Listen, you can go and create an infographic and then break the infographic. Let's say there's 10 steps to being a better, how would we title this? Let's say 5 steps to be a better leader, right? And I give you the 5 steps, or 12-step process to global leadership impact, right? That would be a very valuable infographic that would be shared quite a bit. Now I would go and take that and I would break it down into 12 pieces. So the 12 steps in smaller pieces and info like quote cards. We've got a masterclass on that as well. Go and look at that on the channel. You can get a playlist, or if you're part of the Telegram channel as well. And I would break it down into 12, and I would go one of two ways. I'd either do the steps over 12 weeks, or the steps I'd do 3 every week for three months, and then bring the infographic out that kind of consumes or brings that all those concepts together. That's a great strategy. I would actually do that. I would go and think, okay, there's going to be 12 steps, and I create the content over time. Now I've got the elements, the design elements in place, and year by week 8, I would start creating my infographic and putting the elements in there that I've already created. So smaller content becomes a big piece of content, which is really, really good. You could go the other way as well. You could spend time creating the big piece of content like the infographic and then break them apart. But the other way is actually better, and it's less intense to do it that way. I hope that helps. Remember, if you've got a question, post it in the comments below. We'll answer that for you live. Teacher Maria Rodriguez, Wisdom Seekers Bible School in Spain. What are the benefits of offering live online Bible classes, and how can we ensure they run smoothly? So I'm going to do a challenge cohort, and I'm going to stream them via StreamYard on YouTube inside a closed community that is gated by a payment access. So that's how I do it. Another way for you to do it, depending on if they're paid or free, I could possibly use Zoom, which gives you a lot great opportunities to do interactions, live interactions, ask questions and answer them live. Also doing breakout sessions, and I think for that's probably what you want. The outcomes that you want is engagement and adaptation. People actually working through the content, and I think Zoom is going to probably be the best option for you there. Prophet Elijah Ahmadi from Prophetic Insights Global, Nigeria. What are the ethical guidelines for conducting online prophetical readings and consultations? I wouldn't do them live. I would have a general message or thought, and I would share that. If it's an encouraging message, I would share that live and broadcast that. Deep prophetic messages that you maybe have for a country or whatever, I would do that in a closed community, because I've learned the prophetic can be very divisive and not a lot of people understand it. Actually, in the previous Q&A, if you go and watch that episode, you'll see one of the questions was also around the prophetic. And I would be careful of just sharing prophetic dreams and messages live online to the public, because it's going to create controversy and a lot of challenges for you. So ethically, just make sure that you heard from God, and make sure that the prophetic messages cannot be seen as manipulation. So prophetic messages like, hey, if you sow R1,000, $1,000 right now, this is what's going to happen. I think we must be careful with that. But an encouraging message like, hey, God's got a calling on your life. He's calling you to do this, blah, blah, blah. Personal one-on-one, I would never do live, or as well, I could do it over Zoom, but in person with a closed access. That's what I would do. Okay. Apostle Grace Kim, Empowered Ministries International, South Korea. How can we use storytelling effectively in our ministry media to convey spiritual messages? I'm going to refer you to a masterclass we did a couple of weeks ago. It was actually on digital storytelling. It's like a whole hour, which you can unpack that. And so if you really want to boss this up and do it really, really well, I would get a team of writers together. They write scripts, and then I would take those scripts and then maybe take 3 or 4 of them. So I would have a team of people write scripts, their own scripts that I can feature. I'll take submissions of as much as I can, 100, 12, whatever, and I choose the best 4. And I would do a story where I have where I actually do auditions for actors. I put money into the team that actually, you could have volunteers, actually put a team together that's going to shoot it, that's going to edit it, etc., and build the platforms for that stories to go out. And I would do 4 of them a year and see what the results are. That's what I would do there. Fatima Hassan, Heavenly Revelations Evangelistic Outreach from Saudi Arabia, asked, what are the best practices for engaging with an international multilingual audience through digital media? Create your content in your native language, whatever content it is. So it could be video, it could be audio, etc. The best format to achieve this is going to be video. And then so create it in your native language and then do subtitles in the language of the country or the people that you want to reach. You could do that, or you could do your videos in your native language and then do dubbing over that and then put it. I see a lot of ministries and YouTube, successful YouTubers create their content with dubbed over audio and have a separate channel for that audience where they can have that in. So that's what I would do. Pastor Samuel Reyes, Graceful Harvest Church, Mexico. How can we adapt our traditional worship services for an engaging online worship experience? Again, give people a way to connect and to engage with you during the online service. Give people an opportunity to connect afterwards. Make sure that you're available to minister to them, touch them, etc. And well, you could pull people into a Zoom room. That's what I would do. Grace Akinyi from Abiding Word Bible Institute in Kenya. What tools and resources are available for creating visually appealing Bible study materials for online courses? There's actually a lot of AI tools that exist these days that you can actually create any course material from. So you give them an idea and they create it for you, or you have data, and then obviously just go and edit everything and create it in your own voice and make it contextual, right? So just use AI as a guide for you, maybe to use the outlines, and then you put in your own stories and examples and make sure that the doctrine is sound, etc., etc. You could actually go and just Google AI course creator and you get a couple options. Cubicle, Simplero, Coursebox, Those are tools that you can use. All right. David, Prophet David Nguyen, Divine Inspiration Ministries, Vietnam. How can we maintain a balance between the prophetic and practical aspects of ministry media content? Position your prophetic material around encouragement and encourage people to go and implement what they've learned or they inspire in the week, and let them give you feedback. So video testimonials, WhatsApp videos, those kind of things. How can we maintain the balance? Teach prophetically and encourage practical implementation. Apostle Ricardo Mendez, Harvesters of Hope Ministries, Mexico. What are the key trends in ministry media for the coming year, and how can we stay ahead of the curve? Your trends are short form, like very short form videos, like Vine used to be, 6 minutes, 6 seconds, 12 seconds. Do long form and use AI to create short form for you. And I think trends is always going to be, you don't want to ride on trends. And what you could do is, so what I've done before is I've done messages. I've written and did videos around news. So that's one way that you can stay ahead of the curve, is creating ministry content and messages around what's happening in the news. You could possibly give your own spin around hashtags and trends on TikTok and Instagram. You could do that, but I wouldn't do that. I always want to encourage my students to be trendsetters, to create their own hashtags, their own challenges, etc. I've actually got one student that's done that and done it very successfully. Right, and here's our last one. Evangelist Hannah Wang. Hopeful Hearts Evangelistic Outreach from China. How can we ensure that our ministry's digital content is culturally sensitive and relevant to a diverse global audience? I think the safest bet is to keep your content around Western cultural topics. I don't think you can go global and be culturally sensitive. I don't think that's going to work. I think, again, you want to niche down. You want to ask God, what's my message? Who is it for? Where are they? And then position your messages that way. And let's see. Hendrik Witness is a question. Thank you, Hendrik. How do I get more participation on YouTube videos, comments, and questions? You follow the example that's set by your coach, Hendrik. And so how I do that is, how do I get views and participation on my videos? Let me give you an example. I'm on a journey and a trajectory of growth. I used to do a video and then it'll have one view on it. So I solved that problem by reaching out to people that I thought would be interested in my content. I created a community on Telegram that I invited people to. People chose to join that community by themselves, and they said, yes, I would be part of it. I try and create value and content regularly. I try to get people to engage. I let people know when I'm posting new content. And then when you start your ministry or your videos, ensure that people know who you are, what you do, what's your ministry focus, and then talking about the video specifically. Acknowledge people in the video. So as they join, acknowledge that. Acknowledge people that watch the replays, and then constantly ask people in the videos to engage with you and do. That's what I'm doing here. I'm asking if you've got any comments, if you have any questions, post them. This is actually a live Q&A session. So to make sure that we actually have something to talk about, I have gone and I have asked and my ministry community to send me questions beforehand, which gives me content here. But how do I get more participation? I think the word you're looking for is engagement. How do I get more engagement? So you want to get more people to view, and that the only way that I know how to do that right now, besides, so there's a couple of things you can do. You can go and optimize your video descriptions, your video titles, descriptions, use hashtags. That's what I'm doing. And then also create striking, very, very good thumbnails. So from a design perspective and setup perspective, that's what you do. Have good content. Make sure that your first couple seconds of the video speaks to what the video is all about, because YouTube picks that up. Put your content in playlists. That's one thing. I mostly do live videos like this, so make sure that you engage your audience. Give feedback. Make people part of what you do. Yeah, so those are the main strategies and ideas that I would do. Pastor Jonathan says, yes, somehow we can do like churches who are in the village. Yeah, Pastor Jonathan, I think even rural communities have a huge, a lot of data. Maybe data costs a lot. Maybe the connections aren't as good, but you can definitely trust God to create an intranet, which means a data distribution center or way in the village where you are, where people can connect with you. I know, Pastor Jonathan, you are on radio, so that's one great way to do that. And with your radio shows, what I've always done is I've always tried to get people connected and participate. Hendrik, who's on this call today, I remember I did a video. I asked people to send me voice notes, and I played his voice note on the radio show. So community. Remember, the third pillar of what we teach is community. Content, consistency, community, collaboration. Community is going to be a big factor for you to grow your ministry, especially with media. So create a community that you listen to, that you learn from, and that you serve. So is there any other questions? We still have some time. Let's go back and see if we can find any other questions that we missed. Daniel Kim, evangelist Daniel Kim, Gospel Fire Evangelistic Outreach, South Korea. How can I leverage social media advertising to maximize the impact of evangelical campaigns? So I did a class on this. Go and look for on my channel. Go and look for a masterclass on local evangelism. Let me just get the title for you. It actually goes deep into the subject, and it's going to help you really know exactly what to do there. I'm going to give you the title right now. Go on the YouTube channel and look for evangelism media strategy. That's going to help you with that specifically. Next one, Sophia Clark, Transformational Living Ministries, Canada. What precautions should we take to protect our ministry's digital assets from cyber threat and data breaches? Simple things like a security certificate on your website, doing a site log scan as often as possible. There's different teams that you can get. They scan it for you and they look for threats. That security certificate is going to be very important. You have to protect the data of people that submit any information to your website. You're going to want to know what the POPI Act is and what it involves. You're going to have a privacy policy on your website. That's one of the things. And then obviously small things like if your website is designed on WordPress, I wouldn't design it on anything else. Design on WordPress, make sure that you always have the latest version of WordPress installed and active, the latest version of PHP, and those are all technical terms in which websites speak. for you to help. So remember, if there's any other questions, please post them in the comments below. We will answer them live on the session today. Prophet Joshua Adekunle from Prophetic Insights Global in Nigeria. He asks, how can I nurture and mentor individuals to express interest in the prophetic ministry through online platforms? Community. I have different levels of commitment. So what we teach, the 4 pillars: content goes out consistently, right? Giving value. Community is going to form, then I have your community and give them an opportunity. So I have different levels of engagement here. I have just, obviously there's my fans, that my Facebook and my YouTube channel, and LinkedIn a little bit. Then there is, okay, let me bring you closer in a community where we can regularly give you value. That's my Telegram channel. And then from the Telegram channel, we have different tiers. We have a Ministry Media Challenge that you go into. That's a cohort. There are deep dives that we do. And then there are also one-on-one coaching. And I think one-on-one coaching and the deep dives is probably where we can give the most value. So I would have different levels of engagement and obviously commitment. If you do one-on-one and you're in a one-on-one mentorship relationship, it's going to be less frequent. I have once a month check-ins and I have once a week check-ins. And obviously there are different levels of commitment. Yeah, so I would have different tiers of engagement and commitment. I wouldn't call it engagement, I would call it commitment, different levels of commitment. So someone that just wants to be part of the community, but feel maybe connected and special. So I would have just a prophetic channel or something, and people, but it must be closed. Not closed, it mustn't be public, it must be a community. Okay. And then you have cohorts, so you have groups where you are maybe spending a little more time and focus. And then I would have one-on-one mentorships. If you look at Jesus' ministry, he did exactly the same. He had the disciple that he loved, which was John. He had the 3, which is Peter, James, and John. That was the people that went up to the mountain with him and was supposed to pray with him. And they failed on the mountain, and they also failed in Gethsemane. Then they have the rest of the disciples, which is the 12. They walked with him mostly. If you look at, what do you call it? If you look at The Chosen, if you watch The Chosen, you'll see there's different levels of commitment and engagement in the disciples. Then you have the 77, then you have the larger crowd, and then you have the 3,000s. And then, so that is, in terms of followership, the different levels that you have, and obviously different commitment. Teacher Laura Martinez, Faithful Learners Bible School, Mexico. What are the most effective strategies for promoting online Bible study courses to a wider audience? Freemium. Give lessons for free. So here's what I do. You might not be aware of. I have a weekly masterclass. It's a free ministry media masterclass, and I give my best every week, right? That way, there's always some kind of call to action where people can go into a challenge, or they can get into a community that's more focused. And so segment people off and eventually get them into a commitment for Bible study, either, what do we call it? Either terms or for the year, and so on. And that's what I would do there. Remember, if you have any other questions, please post them in the comments. We will answer them live. Okay, Pastor Michael Brown, Graceful Life Church, United States. How can I effectively use email newsletters to communicate with our congregation and provide updates on ministry events? Pastor Michael, I have stepped away from email. I've stepped away from email because I read a shocking stat. Emails are open. 70% of subscribers, 17 opens emails. Forget about reading them and taking action, they open them. So I've switched to digital communication channels like SMSs or WhatsApp groups or Telegram channels. And what I know is we have between 50 and 70% open and focus rate. Okay, and that for me is just in terms of the effort that I put into my ministry. That is a better ROI at the end of the day. So I don't even. We have a joint venture. We're going to work with someone where they have 20,000 ministry contacts. So I would do that, and I would set up a program and load that and send out emails that way, because we want to reach more people. So I would definitely do that, but I wouldn't use it as a newsletter service. I would more like use it as a communication tool, because that's the only way to contact them. Evangelist Isabella Chen, Gospel Outreach Asia, Taiwan. What are the best practices for maintaining a consistent online prayer and counseling ministry? Our church do something very nice. They have a prayer meeting online on Facebook Live every single morning at the same time, 8 o'clock. So it speaks to content, consistency, and community. And obviously collaboration as well, because they have different pastors in the church doing it every morning. So it gives you variety. People can submit prayer requests either live in the feed, or they can inbox you. That's the best way that I've seen it done before. Other things that I've seen done by some people that I've interviewed is they had a platform called Zoom Prayer Warriors. So they would actually get a bunch of people into a Zoom room. They would share scripture, say what's on their heart, and then pray. And they did that live. So they streamed it live, and they had a Facebook group for that. So that's what I've seen work really well. Remember to post your questions so we can answer them live for you. Apostle Carlos Gomez, Divine Transformation Network, Colombia. What are the copyright considerations when using worship songs and music in our online services and videos? The best is have a commercial license, right? It's expensive, but that's the only way that you're going to do that. Especially if you're going to play licensed songs on your worship services. How do I you can't really get away with that unless you write your own songs. That's what I would do. I would write my own songs and play those. Yeah, and you can find licenses for certain songs, and I would play those. But the problem with this is if you play those songs on YouTube, for instance, they can stop your stream, and they can also take down your channel, which is not good. Sarah Mwangi, Prophetic Voices Ministries in Kenya. How can I discern between genuine spiritual inquiries and trolls or online harassment in our ministry's social media channels? Sure. I would probably set up a series of qualifier questions to see if people are serious. And yeah, I would prayerfully consider and work out some questions, and I would do some research as well. And yeah, I think you'll quickly sift out people through commitment requests. So what happened with me is I would go to my pastor and say, I have this challenge. Can you pray for me? Blah, blah, blah. And what they'll say is, no problem. Come to church on Saturday, or come to church on Sunday, and after the service, meet me here or there. So number one, that caused me to actually go to church. It shows my commitment, and I get the word. And a lot of times, the word gives me the answer. So I meet with the pastor afterwards, and then he can pray for me. That's an exchange, and I call it an energy exchange. You've made a commitment to come to church, participate in the worship service, and therefore I'm going to honor you, and I'm going to I'll pray for you, right? Counseling is a bit different. You can maybe do one session with a person that comes from your online channels, and again, it's going to be commitment. I'm going to give you we're going to do a counseling session. I'll maybe spend half an hour, 45 minutes on that, and I'm going to give you homework. Come back to me when your homework's done, and we can move on from there. If you come and you sit down and we're like, okay, last session, this is what we spoke about, what happened, and you're like, oh no, I didn't do it, then I'm sorry, I can't help you. You need to put those things into practice before you carry on. And I think that's a great way for you to, so you can call it a commitment gateway, if you will. Teacher Muhammad, Faithful Scholars Academy in Egypt. What strategies can I use to encourage active participation and discussion in our virtual Sunday school classes? I think we answered this one already. Zoom rooms, breakout rooms, engagement, questions, regular feedback, make people part of what you're doing. Pastor Emily Turner, Beacon of Hope Church, United Kingdom. What steps can I take to ensure that our online church services remain accessible to individuals with disabilities? I'm going to assume that we're talking about people that are maybe deaf or blind, and that is a challenge. I'm not exactly sure how you can circumvent that. The only challenge you're going to have is someone that cannot hear. So people that cannot hear, make sure that you have subtitles on your video. People that cannot read, they would be able to hear. If you have a deaf mute, that's going to be a challenge. I unfortunately don't know how to overcome that. I apologize. Remember, if you have any other questions, post them below and we will answer your questions live in the session. We've got a couple minutes left. Let's see. Evangelist Jose Sanchez, World Changes Evangelical Ministries in Mexico. How can I effectively incorporate multimedia elements such as graphics and videos into our online evangelistic campaigns? So let's say, for instance, what I've done back in the day is I would preach, but I preach for 5 to 10 minutes max. The rest of the program is done through drama, through videos, media, setting up the topic, those kind of things, and object lessons. And I think that is the best way that you can have a very engaging, multi-format experience. That's going to be great. Okay, let's do the last one. Pastor Grace Peters, Empowerment Ministries International, Nigeria. What are the ethical guidelines for using personal testimonies and stories in our ministry media content? It's simple. People create the content themselves. That's what we spoke of earlier. Take your phone, create the content in your own environment, your own context, tell your own story. It's on your phone. They send it to you or they post it on their own channels and you repost it or share it on your channels. That is as ethical and as safe as you can get. That's the last question for today. Thank you so much for watching the broadcast today. I appreciate your time. For those that are watching this after the fact, we also appreciate you engaging with us and spending time with us. This is a lot of fun for me, I must say. We get a lot of different scenarios and we get to share from different perspectives, different formats, different scenarios, and I really love this. So if you have any other questions, post them in the comments below quickly so I can answer them for you. Otherwise, we are going to end off the broadcast right here. A couple of seconds, post your comments or post your questions in the comments. I would love to do one more and then we'll end off. I'm very excited. Tomorrow is our very first event. We are doing joint ventures with ministries all over the world, and they are hosting us. They're hosting me to teach what we teach every week. Obviously, in abbreviated messaging and formats. We're hosting 2-hour live training events with ministries all over the world. So if you want to be part of that and you want to host us and want to work with us, we'd love to partner and do a joint venture with you. And let's impact the world and get the world talking and creating Let's get your message to its intended for. Last call for any questions, post them. Otherwise, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for everything, for supporting us. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you. We love you, and we'll see you again next week.